Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday, November 29th. You've tuned into the NFT Morning Show. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time each and every week. Right here on X platform, Twitter Spaces, also on YouTube, Apple, Spotify podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. If you want the video feed, check it out on YouTube. Check it out on X platform video that Elon is insisting is going to get better. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to discuss the huge 24-hour pump on Solana NFTs and whether or not this is going to sustain. We're going to talk about AOFverse and its huge win yesterday as the NFTs went from a free mint to 0.8 Ethereum. You know who said they were going to run? Easy said they were going to run. And he bought one. So good job, Easy. And then after that, we're going to be joined by none other than the flyweight boxing king himself, OSF, fresh off of his W at Crypto Fight Night. Obviously, he's also very, very, very knowledgeable when it comes to the markets, both crypto, stock, the macro, NFTs, all the above. So it's going to be a great, great time getting a chance to speak with him. Wanted to give a quick shout out to our partners over at Courtyard.io. I'm sure if you've been paying attention to the NFT space, you have heard of Courtyard.io digitizing physical collectibles. Right now, mostly Pokemon cards, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more stuff to come. We are doing a collaborative Pokemon pack drop with them tomorrow. It's starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time. You've probably seen us tweeting about it. You've probably seen us talking about it on the shows. We are reserving 590 allow list spots exclusively to BoDoggos and Portal holders. And the winners of the allow list will be emailed later today with minting instructions. The cards in the pack drop were revealed yesterday. They're featuring a bunch of cards that are going for literally thousands of dollars on the physical secondary market. That's what's really cool about Courtyard is these are real world assets that have a built-in market for them. So if you go to courtyard.io, you can check out the cards in the pack yourself, and you can stay tuned for tomorrow's BoDoggos and Courtyard Modern Collectors Pack drop. Very, very, very exciting stuff. Before we get into the weather report, I want to see Easy. How you doing this morning, amigo?
We're living well, man. Solana NFTs are pumping. Life's good. I just got a Whoop band. Have you heard of these things? It's like an Aura ring, but the bracelet. Yeah, I got one right now. It tells me I'm constantly stressed and my sleep recovery score is a 12. So I think I got to fix some of these habits in my life. It said I basically got 4 minutes of REM sleep. And I was like, So,
Wow.
Yeah, there's pros and cons. The market's too awake. And what?
Is that Bunny or is that Nick?
I think it's Nick.
That wasn't
my bad.
me.
I hit that button right as I turned on the sync. I'm a couple minutes behind. I apologize.
It's okay, big dog. Don't look. This show waits for nobody except for Nick. It definitely waits for Nick if Nick needs a little bit of extra time.
Oh, shout out Gelatin's dad saying he helped design it. The reason I even got this is one of my friends for college works for the company, so he's like, dude, I can just get you 25% off if you want to use it. So I was like, all right, let's see how bad my life is.
Gelatinous dad, like
that's the guy in the comments. Gelatinous dad.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Gelatinous dad is not getting a 99 sleep score. He's busy consuming just the fat of whatever he can get his hands on. Just kidding, Gelatinous dad. Thanks for watching, and your name is absolutely hilarious. Easy, Brian Johnson, Zero himself. He gets a 99 on his sleep score. He's just an animal.
Yeah.
Are you going to compete with him?
No shot, dude. If I can get my sleep score up to like a 50%, I'll be happy. I think that's a win. Like, it's the little things,
Whoop.
He does use Whoop. Yes, he literally uses Whoop.
The app's pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie. Like, I look at it and I'm like, damn, this thing just gives me all the details I needed. I was using an Apple Watch because of this like health journey I'm back on. But I have a really old Apple Watch because I'm just frugal and refuse to buy a new one because I would never use it for anything but this. But this thing's just way cooler. Like, the Whoop is way cooler. It's slimmer, not heavy.
It's more expensive. To get an accurate reading, you got to get the chest band one, but it's like $300 normally to get the Whoop.
I tried to find the chest band one, and I don't know if they still make it.
Well, what do you mean $300? It ships for free, and then you pay monthly.
Really? The one that I got was like
the Whoop is $0, and you pay a monthly thing.
Maybe there's another one that's used. I'll look up the one that I got. I returned the one that I had because they charged $300, and I was like, dude, my freaking Apple Watch does a great job.
If it was $300, I wouldn't get it. Like, yeah, I would just buy a new Apple Watch.
Yeah. So the Apple Watch Ultra does good sleep tracking, by the way. So it's $300 a year, and you can get. There's a couple of sleep tracking apps.
But do you sleep with the Apple Watch on? That feels like it's a little clunky. Like this thing's nice and slim.
It is a little bit. It hasn't had. Well, I'll tell you, the watch hasn't had any impact on my sleep. What's had an impact on my sleep is externalities, things that I consume, time that I eat, that sort of thing. And you can download this app called Auto Sleep, and I think it's like 99 cents one-time fee. It's not a subscription. You just download it and it works. It gets you 90+% of the way there. By the way, Pia, when you were talking about gelatinous dad, it means that he consumes a lot of Jello because it's gelatin. So he should just rename himself Mr. Jello.
Well, I'm no stranger to gelatin,
Or if you say it with a Spanish accent, it would be Mr. Yellow.
Great community member. Great community member.
Wow. First of all, we had someone from Argentina on the Bitcoin show yesterday, and I wish he was here to weigh in on your Spanish pronunciation of the word Jello, the brand of gelatin that is popular in the United States. It's Yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, yellow.
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 What it is. So,
hey, everybody, I think I'm going to go ahead and have my lunch and eat a little bit of Yellow with it.
Okay.
Well, no, you know that Greek comedian Stavros or whatever. He's got a bit where he asked a guy in the
podcast now, actually, with through the YMH podcast studios.
Oh shit! I gotta listen to that. Well, he had like this crowd work clip, and we'll move on from this in a second, ladies and gentlemen. But he had this crowd work clip where he's asking people in the crowd what their like cheat meal is, like what their snack is, and a guy goes gyro. And he's like, what? Like, excuse me. And obviously he's Greek. And the guy's like, gyro. And he's like, sorry. And then the guy's like, gyro. And he's like, I know how to pronounce it. He's like, are you Greek? I'm a little bit offended right now. Are you Greek? And the guy's like, he's Greek. He's like, all right, if you weren't Greek, that'd be like when your dad goes to the Mexican restaurant. He's like, hey, yeah, like we were thinking about getting a couple of fajitas.
I don't know. Classic racist dad comments, that he throws out.
I don't know if it's racist, but anyway, look, we're going to get into the weather report now. We got Signal ready to rock and roll. Signal, how's it going?
Yellow. Or should I say, I'm going to stop. I'm just going to say buenos dias and go straight into the weather report. It is Wednesday, November the 29th. About 5 weeks until the end of the year, guys. You better get your shit together because the market is pumping and you don't want to be left behind. That market volume is coming in at 24.7 million. You got Blur at 19, OpenSea just above 4, and Solana, it is cooking. It is day 2 of 5.6 million in volume. If we look at the leaders, you got DOGE down 4%, Captain's up 3%, Pudgies are up 2% to 6.3 ETH as they continue their week-long run, or should I say waddle. That was nice. Clemente, not me. That was Clemente, not me. Anyway, other movers include Creeps. They're up another 10% to 2.7, up 2x in the last week. Grapes, just the favorite fruit of the year, up 13% to 3.1 ETH with their great coin pre-sale coming up tomorrow. And of course, those imaginary ones up 20% to 0.88 ETH. If you look at what has happened over 24 hours, it's just Solana. The NFTs are up 50% in volume in the last 24 hours. Most collections are in the green, including BoDoggos. Woo woo. And they're also led by Quex, up 50%.
Great pronunciation. Great pronunciation.
Easy. Leave me alone. Easy. How do you pronounce that collection?
Quex. You said it perfectly.
Quex. Perfectly. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Quex up 50%. OK Bears up 35%. And Klanos up 22%. This is despite Solana also pumping 9% at the same time. It is back over $60. I mean, this is what I mean, guys. Market is cooking. If we look over at Simmering, Proof has made several headlines as Moonbirds were the first collection added to Blend, Blur's lending platform in several months, leading people to think that more collections will be added soon. On the negative side, however, for Proof, Lakos, a very prominent community member and a former member of the Moonbirds Council, he has traded a glitch Moonbird for a Bored Ape just one day after publicly announcing he would be selling most of his Proof assets due to lack of belief in the Proof team. Despite this, Moonbirds are holding steady at 2 ETH with the Proof pass at 3.7. On to Blast. Blast has successfully passed Solana in TBL as a layer 2 now has over $600 million in total value locked. Meanwhile, the Blur token is down 5% over the past 24 hours, holding 50 cents and just doing nothing despite the FUD coming from Paradigm. And then lastly, the winner of the day was AOF versus Fortune Founders Key as the free mint pumped all the way to 0.8 before pulling back to 0.6. That collection of 2,222 NFTs is all part of the Web3 gaming meta and is holding steam. That is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Fantastic weather report. As usual, Signal, some updates from the Daily Digest, which is posted to X platform every morning and pinned up top. It's also available for subscription if you go to the nifty.com if you want to get it in your email. First story, NFT Inspect. Get this. NFT Inspect announces funding round that includes 9gag CEO Alex Becker, Elio Trades, and more as angel investors. Very, very cool stuff. See Zeneca on there, Dingaling, Pentoshi, Rookie XBT. Very, very, very interesting stuff there. Shout out to NFT Inspect for closing that round. Xcopy minted Simulcrum. What is it? Simulacrum? It's like simulation with the word crumb in it. Anyway, a 42 supply edition, raffling 33 allow lists to existing holders who will be able to mint for 2 ETH each. Damn. He's like, I need more money, baby. Give me more money right now. Give it to me. I can't wait to see peak bull run what some of these guys are going to be trying to cash in on. Animoca raises Mochaverse's ape delegation from 3.5 million bucks to 6 million ape, or excuse me, 3.5 million to 6 million ape, citing recent voting activities and the goal to create balance. Well, there you go.
This one's interesting because basically they're doing it to combat Machi, who's been stacking more ape and has so they're basically battling with each other to see who has the most voting power in these ape coin DAO, and they basically just swing the votes either way, so they're trying to like balance it out.
Well, I love how the organization, the 20-year organization and blue chip business in the NFT space, Animoca, is competing with that guy, Machi. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Machi's just, I mean, he's funny, man. Like, he's pretty damn funny for this, where he's, and the way he conducts himself on Twitter, like a week ago after the Blur airdrop, he was like, fuck Blur. And then like the other day he was like, yeah, I'm only using Blur. What's so funny? See, what's so funny?
Dude gets airdropped $1.2 million and his first reaction is fuck Pac-Man, fuck Blur. When I saw that, I was like, damn, dude. Like, I get you lost 11 million, but that was hands down the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. It was like, here's $1.2 million out of thin air, and your immediate reaction is fuck you guys, it's not enough. Like, that's crazy. That's what's so wild.
Hasn't he added like $9 million into the Blast layer 2?
Yeah, he's just dumping into it. And the funny part was he got pissed at Binance because they posted his doxed name and said he sold ApeCoin as like the headline when you click on the ApeCoin ticker. And he was like, guys, what is this? And they're like, you're a prominent figure. We pulled this from an article, and they linked like a Taiwanese news article. And they were just like,
with his docs
name, like he's doc, so like people know his name, but he was just like, this is kind of absurd for you to do this. I was like, yeah, he just had a series of unfortunate events. Great book series, but yeah, it was, when I saw it, I was like, that dude, just one thing after another. And Machi's so funny.
So there's a doc name, and then there's a doc name,
right? Because his
doc first last.
Well, no, his doc's name is Jeff Huang, right? I mean, now I'm just like now I'm doing exactly what he doesn't want me to do. He like really doesn't want me to do this. But anyway, yeah. And then they used his like Taiwanese name in this article, so that's like doxed. You know what I mean? Like,
this is your government. It's like what you go by, your like surname, and then your government name. Like, you may as well just post the guy's social.
I feel like that's something that Asian people can more deal with, since they came up with the version of a name that Americans and Westerners could properly pronounce, and then they stuck with their original name, so that only exists there. But or maybe some other countries in the surrounding areas. But I like this docs name. There's going to be some other degree of this.
Well, Nick, it's like you. It's like you go by Nick, but Nicholas is your docs.
Yeah, it's not as juicy that way.
I'm hidden in plain sight.
Exactly.
So real quick, Blake just said Nick giving us knowledge on Asian culture. Yes, thank you, Nick. I feel like
you're welcome. So I just thought I'd point that out.
I was gonna say our Asian audience members.
Am I wrong?
No.
Name some non-Asian countries where people have the docs name. I actually would say maybe Israel or something where someone has the Hebrew name, but there's not many other places that you're going to end up with this. Maybe Africa. I'll throw that out.
Well, there you go. A fun fact, I don't even know if you know this, Nick, but because you don't spend much in real life time with Clemente. But when me and Clemente go to like coffee shops and stuff, Clemente tells the people that his name is Jose.
Well, don't you also make up a name?
I say that my name is Peter.
Yeah, well, that's just because people, for whatever reason, people don't understand the name Pio. They call you Pio is one thing, and that just exists in this space. But then people in real life, I never thought such a short name would be so challenging, but here we are.
A recent Starbucks interaction, fun fact, called me Spio, which is S-P-I-O. That was an interesting one. That was written on the cup. And fun fact, whale holder of BoDoggos and all-around good guy D's on the show, you know, despite us knowing each other at this point through the space for 2 years, called me P-I-O. So that was a new one too, is just like spell the name because like I don't want to fuck it up. If anything, I kind of like that approach because at least you're not like just butchering it. It's like, yeah, P-I-O. So, you know, we're going to rock with C-L-E-M-E-N-T-E next time, Clemente, and we'll see what they do. But anyway, last story here, and what a story it is. What a story it is. One of one BoDoggos Scorch. The fire element BoDoggo sells for 69 Solana. What the hell is going on right now? BoDoggos rocking and rolling. That's $4,100, ladies and gentlemen. Love to see.
Because Gordon Goner didn't buy it after I tweeted at him. That's some bullshit also, by the way, Gordon.
Well, this person also said they will happily sell it to Gordon.
Gordon's just not a real contributor to the Solana side of things, and he's just fading the shit out of the Solana market. That's all I'm saying, and it's ridiculous. It's getting expensive.
Well, Gordon definitely does not know about this show or about BoDoggos. He might know you.
I've texted with him back on Discord in the early Ape days. He was familiar with. He was at least familiar with the podcast. Maybe he wasn't familiar with the show. So you do have a point there. He did do Bitcoin with Taproot Wizards.
Yep.
And he made a funny sketch there.
This was a banger video.
Oh, it was really good.
He crushed this.
He's like, good at creative shit. I mean, obviously.
I mean, yeah, he may or may not have made a collection that's regarded as the largest ETH collection. You know, maybe. Like, pretty good at coming up with storylines and things. Did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he's definitely good at creative shit. Well, anyway, we got 6 minutes. So Blake. So look, ladies and gentlemen. Blake, do you own BoDoggos? Can you get a bunch of BoDoggos so we can make you BoDoggo of the day and shit and like make it like official and stuff? Because
I'm not mentioning you anymore, you big jerk.
No, yeah, the undisclosed ape who comments just said I texted with him on Discord, aka I randomly sent him a Discord message.
Well, we went back and forth, okay?
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, C. Crumb here, looking sharp in a suit in his profile picture, said that dog is on fire. It seems like C. Crumb is quite concerned about whether or not that BoDoggo needs to stop, drop, and roll, if you catch what I'm saying.
It could be worse. Yesterday, Nick went viral for a music video that he didn't make, and they murdered a BoDoggo in it. They literally put a dog into the shredder. I messaged him. I was like, dude, what the hell? Like this, that's animal cruelty.
I DM'd him and told him it was a phenomenal video. It was a really good video. I watched it multiple times yesterday on the way back from the basketball game.
You went to the Knicks game.
I did. Ooh. Dude, I gambled a little.
Whoa.
What'd you bet? What'd you take? What'd
You
you take?
took the phone out of your pocket and gambled.
I mean, dude, they played the Hornets. Like, if you took the Hornets, you're a bozo. Like, they are terrible. Half their team has felony gun charges. Like, come on, dude.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, but because
Literally, they run a running gun offense, and all of them have a gun charge.
I was
Every single
talking
one
a lot of smack about about the Hornets. So, well, it's good that I avoided violent interaction with them, but I ended up losing $15 was the net position only because of a stupid last minute bet. So there's this like dumb tournament thing that's going on.
The in-season tournament that's getting a lot of hype. Yes.
Yeah.
The courts look awful.
Well, I will say it was cool from the standpoint that what you end up with is the top players on each team is playing into the last, like they were in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, they try to win the game. I know it's a crazy idea.
Point differential matters a lot. The point differential matters a ton. And that's like why they're doing this, is because you have so many of these people paying for tickets and players sit, they get benched a lot. So right now they're like trying to get more court time for the quality players to incentivize it. I'm torn on it, but we'll see. Nick, what'd you bet? How'd you lose $15?
There were a couple of bets. The bets that I like saying is who's going to score the next point.
Oh, you're literally the reason. Casinos love you. Casinos love you.
Those ones are fun. Well, just when you're sitting with your friend, I would bet like $5 on those things. I had previously put hundreds of dollars into DraftKings, and I just never took it out. So I'm just playing with the money that's been in there, and I never gamble except when I'm at the actual game. It makes it fun just to do some like ridiculous flyer bets because you're just yelling about random shit, and you're like, no, don't make it in.
Yeah, you do that. Normal people aren't necessarily just screaming at the NBA players.
Well, if you're rooting for your own team, there actually is. It is pretty fun. What I ended up, then the spread kept adjusting basically, and what happened was the game got close for a minute. The spread when we got there was like 10 points. It got down to 7, and I placed or 7.5. I placed a bunch of bets there. Made all of the losses back from those stupid flyer bets that I was not doing well on. And then when I left, I bet on the Miami game, which I was not at because they were ahead of the Bucks, and that game was impacting that in-game tournament thing for the Knicks. So I was betting against the Bucks. It did not work out. The spread on that game was 1.5, which is pretty. I mean, that's as low as you can get. So you could, honestly, you could have bet on either of these teams. It was, that was a good spread. But I lost.
You went with our investor, right?
Yeah, one of our investors.
Good seats.
Yeah.
Good seats, amigo.
Third row.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Nick is have him get Celtics tickets and have him bring me too.
Well, what he's discussing is so there was a guy who sits next to him that he's like sort of befriended, and those two, so he may have 4 seats for a game, for example. So yeah.
Celtics, 3 of us, and plus we'll bring, one of my friends, and then there you go. So look at this, Cryptodelphia.
Pio's just like, here's how I'm gonna spend the seeds that guy has. I'm going to spend his thousands of dollars.
We're going to bring my buddy Steve. He's going to be like, yeah, Celtics are the best, kid. Anyway, I just made up that friend. He doesn't exist. So real quick, we're going to be joined by OSF momentarily. But look, we got a couple of stories here. AOF verse. Easy. What's the story with AOF verse? Easy, you muted.
Supposedly, it is the same team as Clash of Clans. And that's where a lot of the speculation drove from. So the original team from Clash of Clans, no longer at Clash of Clans, launched this. It was a free mint, 2,000 supply. And the big driving factor was next week, you're supposed to get a $500 airdrop is like the big thing. Like speculation of an airdrop for a token for a game starting next week. And if they actually have gameplay sooner than later, it's going to be a home run, absolute home run. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about it. I'm holding 1. I wish I bought more. It is right around my entry here, but instead of that, I ended up buying an art piece today. Which I'm excited for. Yeah, I bought a BoldLeonidas piece today.
Yes, BoldLeonidas, very appropriate considering OSF is on the show because his buddy Mando has teamed up with BoldLeonidas. So did you buy, is it a 1 of 1 by BoldLeonidas?
It's a 1 of 1. He posted it. He didn't mint it today. It was a bankless where he crossed out bank and wrote clue over the top.
And you got that?
So I've commented and said, can I buy this? And then he messaged me. He was like, do you actually want to buy? I was like, yeah, because obviously bankless, notorious Solana fudder. I had to take the swing on it. That was the piece right there that I needed. He messaged me and was like, if you want, I can throw a little dog in there if you're interested. I was like, let's talk. So I bought it today. I'm a fan. I see his comics every day. I think they're great. He's very on par with like the meme culture. And I'm not a big art guy, but something about this was just like, I need it. Like bankless is a notorious Solana fudder. I need this. Like this just fits everything.
Farouk bought the first one, and
Damn, I want that thing.
yeah, well,
yeah,
Easy owns
exactly.
it.
And it's a nice play on bankless. So bankless keeps getting traction. Nick, it's yours for 6.9 ETH.
How much did you buy it for?
0.8.
0.8 ETH?
Yeah.
Are they still available at that price?
Wow.
There's one other available right now for 0.8 on his foundation. All the others are over 1. That's the one with the little shid from Inverse Bruh.
Damn, he's crushing it. Well, shout
You
out
could have
to
bought these 2 weeks ago for 0.3. Like that's the crazy part. Like it's just gotten mass track. And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna fade this guy. Like he's continuing to become more and more culturally relevant. Where I'm like, this is just I want to get at least a piece that resonates with me. And the bankless one was just perfect. When I saw it, I was like, this is the one.
Well, very cool stuff. Shout out to BoldLeonidas, very talented artist. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we got someone that I'm going to describe as a guest of honor today, coming off of a W in Dubai at Crypto Fight Night. We got the one and only Ovi Farouk, also known as OSF. What's going on, amigo?
Hey,
What's up, guys? That's my name.
Your last name's Farouk?
My last name, I know, my last name is Farouk, yeah. And Farouk's middle name, sorry, Farouk's last name is basically the same as my middle name. How weird is that?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Are you guys
pretty
from the
weird.
same family or just married?
Just married.
So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, what OSF did is a few months ago, he agreed to compete in a boxing match, a literal boxing match that was taking place in Dubai. And that happened last Friday. So last Friday, the music came on. OSF's hands are wrapped up. He's got the gloves on and he walked out. He made the walk into the ring and he boxed a guy that was taller and heavier than him. I thought that Raul was younger than you. I was surprised to see that he was older than you. He looks really good for his age. That was and the opening of that fight. So Clemente, you got to play this video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen, it's the first 15 seconds of the fight. OSF, let me tell you, this made me laugh so hard.
It was so good.
This is the funniest clip on the internet in my mind. The bell rings and you just charge at him, and no joke, in the first 15 seconds, you throw 80 punches and you get caught with a clean right hook from him. Or left hook. It is so funny, dude. What was this? What was the game plan? Literally charge him and throw 50 punches at his head immediately?
Yeah, so I had a slight issue where I got a bad calf strain, got a calf injury about 2 or 3 weeks before the fight. So my mobility was really reduced. I couldn't like bounce on my leg. I couldn't like move in and out and back and forth and that kind of stuff. So that was a big thing. And as you know, as you mentioned, he was a lot taller than me and had much bigger reach. So the only way I could really had a chance of winning was to go toe to toe and just get right in there and throw as many punches as I could. So my coach was like, look, my coach told me, he was like, the guy looks kind of nervous, slip his first jab and just go in there and overwhelm him and try and like force them to stop the fight in the first few seconds. So I was like, right, I'm just going to go in and go crazy and try and get that TKO. But in fairness and to Rahul's credit, he absorbed it pretty well and, was able to hold on. And then, my guard was down because I was punching so aggressively. He caught me with a really clean right hook straight to the face. And I was
punches.
He was not bad. Yeah. I mean, he was good. And I was like, that shot really took the wind out of me because my ears were ringing. I was like seeing stars and like, I almost went down and I looked at the ref. And I was like, man, I've got to like just keep punching here. Otherwise the ref's going to give me a standing 8 count and I'm going to lose the fight. So I just like turned around and just like, basically just went back in and just carried on punching. And yeah, that was that.
Well, that was a clean shot. I've been clocked in sparring before. And when you go and like get a burger afterwards, it hurts your jaw. Is your jaw, Yeah. So is that what happened here? I mean, that's a clean shot to the chin right there. Wow. You almost go down. Does it still hurt today?
No, I'm all good now. Like that night, my jaw was hurting a little bit and the usual stuff. But to be honest with you, after a day, I full recovery. I feel good now.
That is unbelievable, man. I mean, look, what an event, what a thing to go through. You tweeted that you'll remember it forever. It was so much fun. Would you do it again?
I personally, sorry, I don't know why that thumbs up thing keeps happening on my oh.
That's a cool effect. I don't know what that is.
I'm having all sorts of tech issues right now. Like my roadcast is not working, and I get this weird thing where I get a thumbs up every time I move. But would I fight again? Yeah. I mean, I would. Before the fight, I said this is the last time I'm going to do it. I'm never going to fight again. After the fight, you kind of just get that itch. You're like, man, I could do that again and get back out there. But I don't know. I think I'm probably done. I have to convince my wife to let me fight again, and that's going to be a bigger fight than the fight itself. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull another one off, but we'll see. You know, you never know.
It's a big thing to do. He was so much longer, and people need. If people haven't boxed before, a longer opponent is a pain in the ass. Like I'm a long guy, but sometimes if you square up with a guy longer than you, it's just the biggest pain in the ass. Nick, it looks like there's something that you want to weigh in with.
Like I don't understand how it's legal from that standpoint because you're just at such a disadvantage. It was clear from I mean, just your reach versus his reach. You just can't. When you're swinging, you're just gonna miss basically because he's keeping you out at that distance. I'm actually. It's incredible that you won. The few shots that he had that were clean were like real,
very accurate, shots. Very precise.
And I saw those, and I'm just like, damn. And I don't know how they measure points in that set. Do you get anything afterwards to see how that was scored? So
they published the scorecards, I think, right, OSF?
Yeah, I think they published the scorecards for a couple of the fights. I don't know if ours came out, but I did win by unanimous decision. I think what I would say, in this level, they mark the fights on various different things. One of them is the number of effective hits, if you like. So yeah, if you throw loads of punches and none of them land, you're not going to get that many points. But they also mark them on work rate, competitiveness. They mark them on adherence to the rules as well. So I think he got told off by the ref a few times because he does, or he used to do a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I think he'd
he's grappling,
grappling me, threw me to the rope. So I think he would have lost points from that. I think there's one hit on the back of the head he got me. So I think those would have cost him. But at this level, when you only have 3 rounds, they tend to score more favorably to whoever is more aggressive, and that's something I learned from the previous fights that I did. So I just think the person, generally speaking, at this level, and we're not pros, we're not amateur fighters, at this level, the person who has the higher work rate and throws the most punches usually is the person that wins. And I think aggression, it kind of has the highest weight in terms of scoring, I think. So that was my game plan, and that's what I went in to do, and I guess it paid off.
Well, we'll move on from this in just a second and talk about the market, because I'm sure a lot of people are foaming at the mouth to hear what you're thinking about the market, given what's going on right now. Real quick, how come you didn't go to the body? Because I felt like there was a lot of openings to go to the body, and I feel like you can probably shut down an amateur by going to the liver or the kidney, because it just does not feel good. I mean, it doesn't feel good. Tank Davis shut down Ryan Garcia with that big liver shot, and they're pros. I mean, did that cross your mind?
It did cross my mind, and I think that's what everyone was telling me before. It's like, hey, you're fighting a taller guy, hit him in the body. But in practice, when you're actually sparring, and maybe if you sparred, you realize this, to land a clean body shot is pretty difficult. You have to have much higher accuracy than when you land to the face. And when you go for the body, your hands are down as well. So it's pretty difficult to pull off. And when you're looking at it on a TV screen or whatever, you're like, oh, it's wide open, go for it. But to actually land a body shot where it stops them or is damaging is much more difficult. And I think also in this day and age, while body shots and headshots should count as the same number of points, in practice you get more points for headshots because they seem to be cleaner, basically. So I was like, I'm just going to stick with the head, because I could throw a bunch of body shots. If none of them land, if they don't really have an impact, then they're not going to score me points. So it was another conscious decision, really.
Well,
Dude, thinking strategically here. You've been fighting for a while, though. When we were in Miami and we did the Rug Radio and us like just joint sort of panel there, you were saying that you'd been doing fighting stuff, which actually got Pio very excited and turned on. The thing that how long have you been doing this?
So, well, this is the third time that I fought, and the last time that I fought was 7 years ago. And in that period, I mean, I've been training on and off, but I haven't really kept up the training. Like when I live in NYC,
making millions of dollars trading.
I was focused on the 2021 bull market, not boxing training. So I've kind of been on and off. Like I've always been a fight fan, and when I moved back to after COVID and I moved back to London, I just didn't really get back into the training until this fight, really. So I had a good three years off. So this was good to get back into it.
Well, I mean,
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it was just so funny and so fun to watch, man. Like for you to come out and just throw a million punches. The day after Thanksgiving, I think it was like 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern time. So I was just like hanging out with my mom. I was in Boston just chilling. And I was like, oh, Mom, like that boxing thing I told you about is happening. And I showed it to her. And she goes, these are amateurs, right? I was like, Ma, this is not like the Rumble in the, you know what I mean? It's not the Thriller in Manila. Yeah, like these guys are crypto guys. But she thought it was absolutely hilarious too. It was quite the fight.
It was better than watching Jake Paul or Logan Paul.
Way better. Way better.
Dude, all those fights were actually pretty garbage. Yours was just really entertaining to watch. And I'd love to see more of it. But it sounds like obviously there's a toll that takes from getting clocked in the head. So there's some limitation there. But anyways, appreciate or like congratulations again and great job with it, dude. By the way, your thumbs up thing that I think is happening is literally a result of your hand.
It's so annoying. Every time I nod or move, it comes. I don't know how to get rid of it.
From your head? I thought it was from your hand.
Yeah, watch this.
Are you on a Mac? They're saying it's a Mac OS update.
I'm on a Mac. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know who the hell at Apple thought, hey, this will be a good idea. Let's just let's have this weird function where if you move your head, it freezes your screen and puts a thumbs up in the middle of a video call. Like, who the hell thought that would be a good idea?
If you shake your head, does it thumbs down? Is it like?
See, and that I can't even get it when I try now.
I've had it happen on calls as well. I have no idea where the hell that's coming from or even how to turn it off. If someone in the comments wants to share the technical way to do that.
Sound Money with a funny little comment. He said Mac OSF update out. He beat 4 Hans to it. 4 Hans tried to make the same joke. Sorry, buddy, not as quick as Sound Money. So OSF, obviously everybody was excited to hear about the boxing match. I think people might be even more excited to hear the way you're thinking about the market. It feels like Oh, Nick, please.
Well, I just want to say, how many Solana NFTs are you holding on to here? And when are you making your entry? And what's your exposure to BoDoggos?
Big questions.
Famously underexposed to the entire Solana ecosystem, having never owned a piece of Sol ever. So it's definitely something I need to get involved in. I'm slacking big time, and I'm paying the price for it for sure.
Well, it's been crazy. So I mean, I've 2 years ago at this point, I guess. Yeah, 2 years ago, me and Easy started doing YouTube, Easy's early YouTube content. And
Literally almost exactly 2 years ago, by the way. It was like the 20th of November, 2021.
So that's the literal top of the market. And during that time period, I would just buy whatever Easy told me to buy on stream every episode, right? Like 3, 4, 5 episodes in a row. And I wasn't fast enough because at that time you had to basically sell every Solana NFT within 48 hours of buying it or it was going to go to zero. So I got frustrated and I stopped. And then DOGE came out. And so, like, if it had just shifted a little bit, I would have made like $100,000 with this strategy off of DOGE.
I have like the iconic DOGE Pico bottom call too. I had a video where they were like my top runner right before they went dead gods. They were like 6 Sol at the time with Sol about $100, 150. Right before that, they then immediately ran to 170 in the next 30 days. And then honestly though, this market right now over the last 48 hours is giving me those September when I said I was going all in Solana and was called crazy type of vibes, where Sol's pumping and the NFTs are pumping. Back-to-back days at 6 mil. NFT volumes up across the board. We had a small phase of Solana inscriptions that lasted what I estimated was going to be 72 hours to a T, 72 hours. And then it all funneled back into traditional NFT projects. The market's red hot.
And real quick, before we go to Nick, someone in the audience just gave me a really good idea. OSF, ping me on Twitter your Solana wallet. If you don't have one, just download a Phantom wallet. I'm giving you one of my BoDoggos for my personal collection. I'm dead serious. It's going to be curated for you.
I'm honored. I'm very honored. Well, there you go. There's the motivation there to set up a Phantom wallet. So to this day, actually, I do have a wallet because one of my friends made a shitcoin on Solana called Chairman Mao or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, this is like 2 years ago as well. So I'll figure it out. I'll find one and I'll send you one over. Appreciate that, man. Very kind of you.
Dude, download Phantom Mobile. And it might actually it might change the way you think about NFTs a little bit because you're an extremely experienced NFT person. I'm sure Blur changed the way that you thought about NFTs at some point because you guys sold $9 million of Bored Apes with a single mouse click. I'm sure you thought that was interesting when that happened. You might find Phantom Mobile really interesting. It's like an actual good user interface, right? Which, how long have we been waiting for this, dude? I started with Nifty Gateway, where everybody complained about the user interface every day for over a year and nothing changed. And obviously people have complained about other user interfaces. Like the Phantom Mobile user interface just works. I mean, obviously we're partnered with them, but like, I don't know of a better mobile interface for NFTs. Real quick, so me and Nick bought Mad Lads on this show maybe 3-4 weeks ago.
This is what I was about to discuss, which is the targets that we were setting with some of this. So we got in at Mad Lads I got in at 79. It's at 144 right now.
I got in at 85, and I was like, Nick got in so much earlier than me, 6 Sol earlier. It's crazy.
Solana's up too from when you guys entered.
Yep.
Yeah, so, Solana's back to what, 60 now, I think?
Yeah, it hit 61 this morning. Yeah, I think if it holds that 57, 58 area, we're looking like we're finally going to touch that 70 target many people had. Like,
this is wow. It's crazy. Although the 15-minute chart I do look at, which I draw some lines on.
Tell us where it's gonna go, Nick. Give me that 15-minute TA.
I'm not telling you where it's going. But the two that we mentioned was Claynosaurus and Mad Lads. Claynosaurus had a huge pump as well, almost hitting, I think, what Easy's target was like 50. 50 was the target. It pulled back to like 30 first, but I think when I tweeted about it, we were down near 20. So that one,
I bought it at 32 or something.
Well, there you go.
That's sitting at 44. Their secondary collection, Call of Saga, is the one that I'm more interested in because it's lagging a ton. That's at 18. OK Bears with a 70% candle today. Tensorians, which is like the Blur marketplace.
Insane, dude.
That went 16 to 50. So that was a clean 3,500, like 1.5 ETH pump on that, if you want to get comparative to it.
And they're building, they're like the Blur on Solana kind of. So it's not like there isn't any backing on these NFT things. OSF on ETH, I bought a half a dozen little pudgies yesterday. I chickened out from buying the big pudgy because I saw Spencer's tweet and he's like, today's a good day to like own an unreasonable amount of flightless birds and the thing's just running. I was like, dude, I can't just plow 6.5 ETH into a pudgy penguin right now, but I probably should have. But I bought
low pudgies are lagging way harder, dude. If you look at them right now, low pudgies aren't at all-time high and big ones are. Like comparatively, you got to look at risk reward on these things, and them at half an ETH with an upside to even 0.7, 0.8, that's a 40-50% gain comparative to where pudgies full-size ones are in price discovery right now.
Wait, Clemente, pull that back up. I just saw an interaction I hadn't seen before with Spencer on Twitter. MCL Soldado said, I would trim some here and start buying BoDoggos. And Spencer responds, do you have any concept of how many BoDoggos I have? Which is a funny, true statement from Spencer. He just has an absurd amount of BoDoggos. So shout out to Spencer. OSF, I also bought, I bought one parallel avatar, which has gone up because Easy bought it and because it seems like there's some real substance there. And I bought the dip on shrapnel operators. I just kind of checked out the little story. I was like, this is a nothing burger. Bought the dip on shrapnel operators, bought 3 more. What are you looking at right now? How are you operating? I'd imagine you've been focused on the fight that you had, but that shit's behind us. What's going on now?
Yeah, honestly, like as soon as the fight was done, I was like, I got to get plugged back into this bull market. But I think for now, I think NFTs have been a little bit more hands off. I mean, obviously missed the whole Solana stuff, and when you're not involved at all in the ecosystem, it's really hard to be like, let me bridge over some ETH or whatever. Let me learn it and get up to speed on it. But
well, you threw 1,000 Ethereum at Blur, so that's a move.
At Blast, yeah. So
that's a safer kind of. So I say safer, but that's a more subtle play. You throw that to the side and wait 3 months.
Exactly. Yeah. With that one, I figured, look, I have ETH lying around that in my head. I'm not going to touch that ETH. It's not supposed to be liquid ETH, but why not just bridge it to Blast and farm that airdrop? Because compared to other airdrop farming where you have to like trade stuff or do stuff or like, take action, this, you literally just bridge your ETH and then click spin and that's it. It's very very low risk in terms of like capital deployment. Obviously there's security risks associated with it that you have to acknowledge, but to me it seemed like a relatively easy one. And I think that team just seems to nail the marketing for it. They nailed the marketing for Blur. I think they'll nail the marketing for this. And I think, in my opinion, I'm looking at tokens that are coming to market in the next 3 to 6 months that have a very strong idea of like how to market themselves and get the attention. And obviously you guys have probably seen PortalCoin as well. I know you've probably already spoken about that. Because I think that's the stuff that will do really well. I think that's stuff that will outperform because new coins that come to market don't have existing bag holders that are like in the red and like waiting to sell or dump, or they don't have their vesting schedule. Their vesting schedules are still far out, so the tokenomics when they first launched pretty good as well. So I think that's the stuff that will do well. And I think gaming as a narrative is coming back in a really strong way. And you've seen some of the gaming coins that did well in 2021 start to rally now as well. So that right now is kind of where I want to be. Like things that I think will maybe not liquid right now if you're going to token pre-sales or if you're farming, but will be liquid in like 3 to 6 months. And then you can like monetize that stuff. And I think NFTs will definitely come back. And I think you're seeing the activity now in Sol. I think you'll see a return to activity in ETH as well. But I think it's probably still a few months away. I think people need to get rich on ETH first before you start to see like the big tickets coming through on Ethereum.
And the ETH price action is kind of lagging, which I think is not helping that case. But the interesting thing is if you look at it right now from ETH, what's running is all these, to your point, games that have a token with potential liquidity down the line. So it's fitting that exact narrative that you're kind of looking at. And it's where my focus has been. I mean, you look at AOF first yesterday, 3 to 0.8 was crazy. Like, when's the last time we had a free mint that just giga sent like that? And it seems the market's also like really understanding supply dynamics right now. They're not dropping 10K. AOF first was 2. You had these founder passes from, oh man, it's going to drive me crazy what the name is. Frontier Pass was another free mint yesterday, went to 0.3. So the gaming side is where I think ETH is going to continue to see a lot of interest with these NFTs as like their battle pass for whatever game they ultimately launch.
Easy. You missed the opportunity to talk about, first of all, the token that we don't talk about because
the giant scam that everyone needs to get in front of with PortalCoin. Dude,
it's but we don't get incentivized to talk about it on Spaces, unfortunately, just to tweet about it. But it's definitely a scam. This tweet got me what looks like 57,000 points.
Yeah, so, mine got me 72K, Nick. Get at me.
72K?
72K. You copied my wonderful idea of saying I wouldn't stand with PortalCoin. We can talk about it. There's some drama with it. I'm not going to lie.
Shocker.
Behind some closed doors, there's a little bit of drama. They list some games on their site where people at these games say we don't actually have an affiliation with it. So there's some drama going down of some false advertising that's got some people a little bit worried. And you know who was early to call it out? Me and Nick.
So we called this as a scam straight out the gate, and we're going to continue discussing how big of a scam this really is publicly on Twitter.
And showing that we tagged the proper page and asking for quotes and retweets. Of course, just for visibility, just so people know what's happening.
Because they need to understand that this is a scam, and you got to protect yourself. Yes. You got to retweet, quote tweet, and reply to make sure that people understand that this is a scam.
Should make a video about this, Nick. By the way, it would gigasend, and you'd get rich, and we'll run the revenue through the business because that's what we're supposed to do, right, Nick? Right, Nick? Nick's like appalled. He's literally appalled.
If I get an airdrop, okay, that's another thing. But real quick on this note, or not on the PortalCoin note, but other coins, the gaming ones that you were saying, Easy. What's the amount when you go and place a bet on these? Is it $1,000? Is it 2,000? Or do you like YOLO in at like 10 grand? Like how much exposure do you get?
So I take a shotgun approach to these way more, and it's like smaller size, more plays, because I only need one to hit to cover the rest of them. That's my thesis. I have a bigger bag of Shrap just because obviously, like, one, we're partnered with them, and two, I really do believe that game's going to get some larger appeal. I've been watching Off the Grid, another game on AVAX that I'm going to put a larger allocation into their token. But all these other ones, like AOFers was one of my bigger swings at 0.65 ETH without a token live, just because I can't get token exposure. But I'm more comfortable taking 1,000, even 500, and spreading it out on 20 to 25 things and only needing one to hit big to pay back the rest. And if you get a couple others that make you a little bit 30, 40%, it feels great. A couple that go to zero, but you just need one on that approach. Knowing that I think gaming's inevitable, I just feel more comfortable taking a wider swing at some of these than putting all my eggs in one basket. And that's just kind of the thesis I have on it right now without seeing what the actual quote meta is going to be.
One thing this is unrelated, but I just want to point this out. And Pio, I don't know if you're aware of this. What? The Gemini mobile app now allows you to use the advanced purchase approach.
They brought it back or whatever, so
and it's so you don't pay the ridiculous fees.
Coinbase has that too.
I use Coinbase Pro. No fees.
Yeah,
it's great.
Coinbase Pro is back. They tried their subscription model. Then the market came back. So they're like, fuck the subscription. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when the going gets tough, bring in a subscription model for $20 a month, which by the way, wasn't that good. I'm a big Coinbase guy, but the subscription model wasn't that good because you could only do X amount of buys per month with it anyway. And then it was right back to the suicidal fees. But now you can do Coinbase Pro. Real quick, I want to dig in with OSF in a second. Want to do another quick shout out to our partners at Courtyard. So tomorrow we got the collab drop, the Pokemon pack drop with them at 12 p.m. Eastern time. This is a BoDoggos X Courtyard.io partnership. We got 590 allow list spots. Some of them have been allocated, but I think there are still, Clemente can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's still spots.
Yeah, winners will be emailed literally in like 2 hours. So
okay,
you can't sign up anymore, but we'll be emailing the winners with the
all right
instructions.
Hell yeah. So emails are going out. The card and the packs were revealed yesterday, so you can check out the actual Pokemon cards. One thing I wanted to communicate, because I feel like so many people in NFTs have been like hurt. Like people will ask questions about the custody of these cards. They're literally custodied by Brinks. And go to like Crunchbase and look at the funding round for Courtyard and all that. Go to like Courtyard's LinkedIn. I know our industry has a lot of like crap in it, so it's hard to find like good companies. Courtyard's a good company, ladies and gentlemen. Like seriously, like do some due diligence on them. Check it out. Just want to make sure you understand that these cards are actually custodied by Brinks. You can redeem the NFT for the cards. Love to see it. Really excited about the drop tomorrow. Courtyard.io, collab drop with them. Bunny, do you have a question for OSF? I see your hand is raised.
No, it's a question for you.
Okay.
Where do we stand on pinning our PortalCoin tweets to the top? Is that
Bunny? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Bunny. Absolutely not.
I respect that question. I respect it.
That's hilarious.
Wait,
okay.
I want to do that. So where we stand on it, Bunny, is only I can do that.
Well, there you go. So OSF. So in all seriousness, so you didn't have any Solana exposure going into this. What I'm looking at now is people. So AVAX is interesting. It's been running, but I'm a big believer in smaller number theory. Like, so yesterday, Coinbase pumped harder than MicroStrategy, right? MicroStrategy is $500. Coinbase is $125. The market kind of treats the two of them the same. MicroStrategy barely moved. Coinbase pumped. I'm on this mining stock now, $5 mining stock called Iris Energy, $5, and it's pumping hard. It's up like 75% in the last week. I'm like, do people just buy the smaller number over and over again? You look at some of the altcoins that are on AVAX, you know, some of these gaming tokens and stuff. Do you buy into that? And are you buying more ETH? Do you just have a gajillion dollars of ETH you've been holding for years? How are you operating on the token front right now?
I really do believe in small number theory because, I mean, back when I used to work on like the professional trading floor and stuff, you were obviously never taught to think that way. You were taught to think like, oh, this is like the market cap, or these are all the metrics and ratios I'm looking at, and therefore this is the value. But the size of the retail market right now in obviously crypto, but also equities is just so big, and most of these people are simplifying it. They're not doing like, you know, the average person buying some random stock or buying crypto isn't like a chartered financial analyst. So they will, you know, many people will be like, oh, this is a small number, like it has more room to run, let me buy it. Like I've had conversations with people that actually think and believe that's the maths. Like I'm sure you guys understand that's not the actual math behind what you put in, but
yeah, but
like,
OSF,
actually...
I own 1 million. That's way cooler. Like, what if it goes to $1?
Dude,
like that's literally the thesis.
Exactly.
If I have 1 million
Always say
coins
that.
and it goes to $1, I'm a millionaire.
They
That is
always say, I've got a billion of this shib.
It goes to $1, I'm a billionaire. It's the biggest left curve theory and mindset to have. And I've just sat there and been like, maybe they're right. Maybe they're right.
They are right. They are right. If you just go buy the things that they buy, then they are literally right. Do you have Dogecoin, OSF?
I did. I've been dabbling in a bit of Doge this year. Right now, I don't have any, but I think that's another interesting one too. I think I go back and forth on it. You know, like when I mid curve it, I don't want to own it because I'm like, you know, like the supply and there's inflation and the market cap's so high, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think, you know, there's that Elon thing that's supposed to happen in January next year, whatever. I can't remember exactly what it is that people are talking about.
A rocket, Doge 1 into space.
That's right. Yeah. So like that seems like it seems to me like an obvious trade into that. Like I think it will go higher into that, and you're probably going to sell the news. But I guess it's a question of like, can you own other things that will outperform that move? And that's the paradigm we're in now. It's not hard to find something that will go up. You're trying to find the thing that will go up the most, which is a blessed situation to be in. But...
I was gonna say, what a life we live, OSF. I mean, it's just literally like, I don't know if that one's gonna go up as much as this one, and we're just plowing money into shit that we know is gonna go up. It's kind of ridiculous. PEPE, do you have millions of dollars of PEPE right now?
I still have. So I DCA'd into 1 trillion tokens of PEPE, which I think is, as you do.
If it goes to $1, you're a trillionaire, OSF.
If it goes to $1, I'm a trillionaire, and that's the thesis. But I do really believe in that too. I think that's going to see another day in the sun. You know, I do think we haven't got to the part of the cycle where like we've had moments this year where meme coins have done really well. In this most recent part, meme coins have lagged because people have looked at other L1s and gaming, etc. But I do think memes will have their moment again. They always do. And I do think PEPE is a front runner. Like it's what, 500 million, $450 million market cap. I think that can go into the billions. Like I quite like that as a trade as well. But you have to be patient, I think. Like if you're in there trying to make, you know, if you're in there with like 10K here and there and trying to make like your 50% this week and move on to something else, then, you know, that's a harder one to time. But I feel a bit more comfortable. And, you know, to answer your question, Eve, as well, I feel a bit more comfortable just like having large chunky positions in those things and just not thinking about it and leaving it as like long-term bags, if you like, and then doing my DJing stuff and other stuff. That's the way I'm viewing it.
I'm going to throw to Signal in a second. I also want to talk about RollBit token and GambleFi. I just did the math. So you do have over $1 million of PEPE token. Also, I have an undergraduate degree in engineering, but I don't think I've ever popped 1 trillion into a calculator for a legit calculation where I'm just like 1 0 0 0 0 0 0. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that is over $1 million of PEPE coin. Signal, question for OSF?
Yeah, I've got a question for Obi. Hey, Obi, congrats on the fight, by the way.
Thank you.
I saw you put out a tweet. I think it was yesterday. You said, if I didn't have loads of capital to invest in crypto, I'd be spending all my time right now figuring out upcoming airdrops and how to farm them. What I wanted to know from you is, aside from Blast, because obviously you've made your move in that, what would you farm right now? And then you also said, if I did have loads of capital and not loads of times, I'd be figuring out how to angel invest. So my second follow-up is that, what would you angel invest into right now?
Yeah, so I think like the two that are on the timeline right now are Blast and Portal, which I think are low capital ways to be able to farm stuff. Maybe Blast not as much, but there's another token called Reach token, which I think everyone should check out as well. That's an interesting one that I think you can get a potential airdrop from being part of that community. It was more of a general comment rather than a specific comment to specific tokens. I just think, like, let's say I'm like an 18-year-old kid and I have like $1,000 or whatever that I'm putting into crypto, but you can like actually earn tokens from doing things like tweeting about something or going and joining a Discord or whatever, like bridging some tokens to this and taking it out again. And then every time you do it, you just get an airdrop. And I think in 2023, the value of these airdrops weren't really that great because we were in a tough market. It was a bear market and people just sold them straight away. But in 2024, I anticipate we'll have a much stronger market. And I think a lot of these airdrops will be valuable. Like I think the value of an airdrop in 2024 is much different to a value of an airdrop in 2023. So you'd be surprised if you put in the work now on the stuff and you get these airdrops, you'd be surprised at how much value they can have. And at the end of the day, if you are doing this full time, or if you have time to do it, if you map out, I mean, I don't know all the upcoming airdrops, but there's tons of threads about them on Twitter, and there's loads of them out there. But you can map out a systematic way to just farm everything without putting in that much money. And halfway through next year, suddenly you're going to get 5, maybe even 6 figures worth of tokens because you've put in the work. And it's very menial, annoying things to do, but if you make thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars from doing it, then it's probably worth it. And then that will then give you a bag to then go and like invest in other stuff and trade around other stuff. And I think it's a really good way to get started. Like I was just thinking, if I'm just a kid, an 18-year-old kid and I have no money, but I really love crypto, like that's what I personally would be doing. And so I put my second comment in because I was like, well, I'm not that. So what am I doing right now? I'm not an 18-year-old kid anymore. But and I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, I think the new tokens that are coming next year that have a lot of hype behind them, I think they will do really well to begin with. And for Portal, for example, like their pinned tweet is open to angel investors, so anyone can go in and apply to angel invest in this round. I think a pretty low market cap versus where some of the other gaming tokens are. So like that, I think is a really good opportunity. Like for me, that's like, oh, this is a potential 5, 10, 15x. With quite a high probability versus me going out there and being like, okay, let me buy AVAX. Maybe it does a 5x, I don't really know, or like buy ETH or whatever. And yeah, you tie up your money for a bit, but I think you come out on top there. So like finding these opportunities for next year where it's like we are in a situation where we're all here, we're all early in terms of where we are in the cycle. When I say we're early, I'm not like, oh, we're so early to the tech, because like crypto's been around for ages now, but I think when I say we're early, it's where you are in the cycle. And I think we are right at the beginning of the cycle. And we do have an advantage where it's like you can get into these angel deals, you can figure out which airdrops are coming, you can do all this stuff such that when all the normies FOMO in next year, you've been here putting in the work for the few months before, where you can be the one that's selling into that rip, or you can be the one in a position of strength. And when I bought my first Bitcoin in Jan 21, so I was pretty late to crypto. And I remember in 2021, thinking, I was like, man, like I wish I was here 6 months before so I could get in all the stuff. And now we're here now. We're in that like 2020, summer 2020 period where like you are early to it, and once ETFs get approved, etc., all these people are going to come in, and you have an opportunity now to like get your ducks in a row for next year, whether that's deploying capital, whether that's farming stuff for that much capital, whatever it is. I think you have a massive, massive advantage to being early to the cycle right now, and everyone should be doing their best to make the most of it.
Well, you bring up a phenomenal point, which is that you bought your first Bitcoin in Jan 2021. That's after all-time high. That's like $30,000 Bitcoin off of a $20,000 all-time high. All-time high is huge in my opinion. Huge, because then CNBC is just jamming all-time high down your throat, and the normie people start to be like, oh, wow. I was with my friend Friday evening, Thanksgiving weekend or whatever. He's got a wife and kids, got a great job, got a big old house, the whole thing, right? He bought Bitcoin late last cycle. Definitely, I don't think is up on it. I think he's definitely down on his Bitcoin. And he literally asked me, is Bitcoin still a thing? That was his question. And I hit him with basically everything. Like, I really threw the kitchen sink at him.
Oh my God. So are you guys still friends?
I was going to say, did he block your number?
But I could see in his eyes, that he was trying to figure out if he should like believe that Bitcoin's still a thing. And it was a hard thing for him to grasp. You know what I mean? When Bitcoin goes over new all-time high, I think that's when that guy is just full tilt, back to believing that it's still a thing, because it's like, well, that means my favorite thing is just telling people when it hits a new all-time high, that means anybody that ever bought it before today is up on it. Ever. You bought it ever before today, you're up on it, you know? So we have like a full year now where if you're in the market now, you're so prepared. And I bet people that left during the bear market and now have missed this run on Sol are maybe starting to feel like they're late. But it's like, dude, we're not even at all-time high yet. And
5X
you know, we're
off all-time high. Just saying. We're just
there you
counting
go.
the maths.
That's the math. So before we wrap, GambleFi, RollBit's like a dinosaur in GambleFi compared to some of this other degen stuff that's out there. I have a little bit of RollBit. You guys, that's, I think, maybe your biggest sponsor, one of your biggest partners. What's the story with the RollBit token, and are you looking at other GambleFi stuff?
Yeah, I think the RollBit token specifically is interesting over the other GambleFi stuff because of this buyback and burn mechanism they have, where they use a percentage of fees to buy back the token every day, and it's crazy. Like I think right now they're on course to burn. I mean, if they make the same amount of fees every day that they are now, they're on course to burn something like $100 to $150 million worth of market cap of the token, and I think right now the market cap is like 600 or 700 million, so or maybe even less than that. So it's pretty crazy. Like when you think about that, like by the end of the year, they would have theoretically burnt like a third of the token. It's kind of crazy. So that is the most interesting part of that token. But I think the reason why it's come down recently is because there's been a surge in like other platforms and other GambleFi tokens, and people are like, oh, let me buy RollBit's like, oh, here's the big one at like 500 million market cap. Let me buy the one that's like 10 million or 5 million or even lower and try and make more money. So it's a small number theory playing into effect again. But I think at the end of the day, the numbers that the RollBit platform does massively dwarfs any other platform apart from maybe Stake, which doesn't have a token. So it's going to be hard to compete with that. And I think as time goes on, as they burn more tokens and as people start to do the maths and realize, I think that's the one that maybe comes out on top, I think.
I hope so. I've got exposure to it. And that's on ETH and Sol. Am I right about that?
It's on ETH and Sol, yeah. Yeah.
So I have it on ETH, but why wouldn't you have it on, like, why shouldn't I do it on Sol so I can do it without fees?
Yeah, you can. I think originally they built the platform and the token was on Sol. And I think about a year and a half ago, they put it on ETH because like the perception was that, you know, Solana wasn't
more liquidity, higher market cap was kind of their thesis.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you could own it on either theoretically.
There's
I actually don't know what liquidity
supply
is.
on Sol is the thing, and less liquidity. It holds near the same price. Sometimes it lags or runs ahead, but they typically trade the same value. The thing to note though is if you have RollBit and you put it into their platform from Solana and withdraw it at any time, it's withdrawn as an ERC. So you're essentially burning the Solana supply. It's like their easiest way to get it out of circulation. Their end goal is to get it completely off the SPL chain.
Yeah.
Oh, so you kind of buy the price is what you buy, but you don't actually own the token.
Well, you own the token, yeah, but it's because you still have that in your wallet. The token's still yours. It's still recognized by RollBit. But if you ever put it into RollBit's site, then it's converted. Like that's their easiest way to convert those tokens to ERC.
Got it. Okay. Well, OSF, I know we got to wrap. You got your next show you got to probably prepare for a little bit. Any closing thoughts? Anything that we missed? You know, are you buying like ETH NFTs right now? Like what's the story?
No, I'm not buying ETH NFTs right now. I think I just don't feel like it's the right time. I think, remember with NFTs, they're not as liquid as tokens, right? So I still feel like with NFTs, we're still in this like meta moment where it becomes a meta, then it goes away again and liquidity dies. Whereas like, you know, just some of these large cap tokens and just some of the L1s, L2s, and all that kind of stuff, like they're super liquid. So you can move in and out of them pretty quickly without giving yourself a big trading cost. So for now, I prefer to keep myself in liquid stuff because I think you want to have, I would say you want to have dry liquidity because you're going to keep getting, I think over the next few months, you're going to keep getting a handful of opportunities that's like, oh, this is a 10x, I have to get into it and I have to put as much as I can into it. And when you're tied up into NFTs, it's like, oh, like now I have to like sell and list this NFT and get the money. Like it's much more difficult to get your money out compared to when you have in the token. So what I would say, my biggest advice is like have some dry powder spare and keep that dry powder in Solana if you're native to Sol, like ETH if you're native to Ethereum. But you know, you're gonna get, as we get into next year, you're gonna get some opportunity to come in and be like, shit, I need to go in all in this. And the worst case scenario is that you don't have the liquidity to do so. It's hard to get your liquidity out. So that'd be my biggest advice.
I mean, look, people are coming out of the woodwork. Big A comes through. He says Disney Pinnacle's launching on Flow. The token's 64 cents. Previous all-time high was $46. Might get a bag. People are finding opportunities out here.
There are so many of them, but it's also like, I guess the biggest thing that I've been thinking is, what is the multiple that I'm going for my portfolio for this run? And as a whole, I mean, the dream would be 20x. Like if I think 20x is like the target here.
That'd be pretty good.
Okay. So so that's what I'm looking at. But I'm just like, well, Solana is the 10x from here. AVAX is, I think, the 20x one. There's a couple other opportunities that exist.
No, AVAX is like an 8x, 160 all-time high.
Now it's 8. Okay.
Arguing about the
thing was,
10X.
we talked about it at like $6 to $8. So for us, that was like, okay, this is a clean 25x if you were buying lows.
My sole position, it looks like the portfolio average is $22 or something like that. Is where I'm at right now.
Nice.
Come on, Nick, get lower than that.
But I want to add more, but then it's just going to mess up the average. It's I'm playing mental.
That's a ridiculous. You are going to box yourself in, because then it's going to be $250. You'd be like, damn it.
But I'm like, okay, let me have 300 grand, 20x that, and you're at $6 million. This is the target for this bull market run, basically.
Nick at $6 million is going to be the most intolerable human on the planet. You ain't going to be able to tell him shit. Literally, if a waiter dares do a bad pour with the red wine, it's a wrap.
That's already the case. So I don't understand. But intolerable is just offensive. I've had money before, PO, and then I lost it. And I went through the already intolerable point, but we're forgetting that I'm actually old enough to be most people's dads in this space, which means I've already gone through the ego cycle and I've been humbled. We were discussing last night a guy who became a billionaire and he never got humbled. And he was on this board of directors. Anyways, it was a tangential conversation, but the main point is, if you don't ever hit that state, if you don't get humbled at some point, that's the most intolerable person to deal with, basically, is the person who has wild success and never went through some process where they like lost it all or like had some truly humbling experience. Near death situation, I think, is another one that tends to humble people. But there's all sorts of moments. But I don't think I'll be intolerable. But I am very excited about doing that sort of 20x. Even a 10x, it's nice. You make 300 grand or 3 million or something like that. But that's not enough. It's just not enough to make on what can you get with $3 million nowadays?
Not much.
Nothing.
Not much.
Literally nothing.
Nothing.
OSF knows. He's got $1 million of PEPE. He can't get anything.
He's like,
I have no furniture in my room. Nothing. I sit in an empty room.
I love it. Well, look, OSF, this was such a jam. Congratulations on the W in Dubai. Absolutely legendary shit that 99.9% of people on the planet, forget about crypto Twitter, would not do. People should follow you on Twitter. That's at OSF_rect. They should follow at Rect Radio. That's REKT. RADIO_. That is your weekly show that you do with Mando and Keyboard Monkey, two other legends. They didn't step in the boxing ring yet, though, so they're not as legendary as you are. They should check out FOMO Hour. That's at FOMO Hour. And check out Canary Labs at Canary Labs XYZ at DGens NFT. Look, he's got all these handles in his Twitter account. Anywhere else we should send people any newsletter or anything, OSF?
No, that's it. I think that's pretty much it. I would say check out my buddy Mando's daily newsletter, mandominutes.com, if you want a quick snapshot of what's going on every day. That's definitely a go-to read every day, I would say.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow OSF. Guy's a legend. Thank you so much for coming today, man. We're going to close with Undisputed by Ludacris and Floyd Mayweather in just a sec. Reminder that tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have our Courtyard drop that's done in partnership with BoDoggos. That's at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Check out the pinned tweet. Check out the tweets from the BoDoggos and the Courtyard accounts and the Nifty account. I mean, you can figure it out if you go there. If you own BoDoggos, there's a good chance you can get yourself onto the allow list. And yeah, I mean, those emails are going out today. Thanks for listening, everyone. We will catch you tomorrow. We do this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, each and every week. See you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Catch you later.